I'm Mary Matz, creator of Twisted Yarns. This is the fourth video in the Pansy Blanket series, where you will learn to crochet the pansy triangle motifs together. We will start with the basic border and then explore a variety of ways to treat the corners and join the motifs. The companion pattern is available from twistedyarns.com by following the link in the description below.
To start, I'm going to insert my hook in the corner space and I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to chain 3 using both strands of yarn. Now the first 3 count as 1 double crochet, and then I'm going to chain 7 more. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I wove in my end as I did that chain because stuff is going to get worked over it anyway. So now I'm going to yarn over and insert my hook into that corner space and complete a double crochet. So we've just completed our first corner. Now chain 1 and work a double crochet in each of the chain 1 spaces of this row below. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, and so on until we get to the next corner. I'll meet you there. We've just reached the corner space, and we finished our chain 1, so we're going to work 1 double crochet in that space, and we're still going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Instead of continuing along this edge, we are going to jump over to the corner of the next one, and that creates a bar. Now, you want to make sure that you don't twist this chain 7. And now we're going to do a double crochet into that corner. And so it has created a bar between the 2 motifs. And simple as it sounds, we're going to chain 1 and just continue to work a double crochet, chain 1 in each of the spaces along this next edge of the next motif. We are working across all of our motifs in the row, and when we get to the last motif, we continue in the same fashion, except if it happens to be a pointing triangle versus an equilateral triangle, we'll handle it a little bit differently. First, we're going to do our 7 chains between the motifs and join this one the exact same way. Now, make sure that you have the triangle in the right direction. That's very important on this particular one. And I just worked a double crochet into the corner space. Chain 1 and move on to the next space, and you're going to work a double crochet, chain 1 in each of the spaces until the next corner. We've just reached the corner space, and that's the one right here. Now, I want to explain something. You're going to do your chain 1 before you get into that corner space, and you're going to work a double crochet in that space. And then you're going to chain 3. Now that kind of tips you down and forms a corner, and you're going to work 1 single crochet, chain 1, and then a second single crochet, chain 1 to start the single crochet side. Now that's the outside of the afghan. So in the next space, you're going to work a single crochet, chain 1, all the way across this particular side until you get to the next corner. We've just reached the corner after we finished the outer edge. And so here we are going to do very much like we did before. We're going to do a single crochet, chain 1, then a second single crochet, chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. but we're going to return to our loop here and complete a double crochet on this side. The reason we put a large loop up here is because this is going to be joined to adjacent motifs. However, in this particular corner down here, we are not joining it. That is the edge, the actual corner of the afghan. Now, if you had ended with a triangle, an equilateral triangle motif, you would just do your chain 7 and come back into that space and work your double crochet to complete that. And that's what's happening on the other end. So we're doing it both ways so that you can see how this works. So we're going to chain our 1 to continue. We're going to work a double crochet, chain 1 in each space until we get to this corner over here, and I'll meet with you then. Now we're back at the corner, and I want you to see when we come around here, we are going to work a double crochet into the corner space, but we're going to jump over to this other motif. So we're going to chain our 7, because in the corners we do 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now we're going to jump over to this motif. So yarn over and work a double crochet, chain 1 in that corner space. We've made 2 bars between the motifs. Now we're going to work along this side just like before. So we're going to do a double crochet, chain 1 in each of the spaces along the edge. We're at the corner space. So we're going to work a double crochet, chain 7, and a double crochet in the same space, because there's nothing to jump to. That's at the point. That's at the point. So we're just doing a double crochet, chain 7, and a double crochet into that space. You see that? Okay, so now we're going to work down this side until we get down to this corner. We are at the corner, and here we are going to work a double crochet, chain 7, because we're at a corner. And this is where we have to pay attention. We do not, on this very first row, you have to make sure that your motifs don't twist that chain. Okay? Because as you're working it, things happen. So now we're going to jump over to this corner space and work a double crochet, chain 1, and continue up this edge. We're right where we're going to place our double crochet in the corner space, and because it's at the point, we're chaining 7 to turn that corner and create that next corner space. And then we're going to work another double crochet in that very same corner space, just like we did on the top of the other point. Chain 1 and continue down this side. We're getting down to the corner, and I want to show you something. We're going to put our double crochet, chain 1 in the space before the corner space. Now, if you've noticed, remember when we first started, the first 3 chains counted as the first double crochet? Well, that's true. So we're going to count up 3 chains, 1, 2, and 3. And in the 3rd chain, we're going to slip stitch because we already have a double crochet, chain 7, and a double crochet in that corner space. This is what it looks like now. So we have completely come around. So between each of the motifs on the outer edge, we have 2 chain 7s. bars. On each corner of each of the motifs, we have 7 chains at the points and on the points of the equilateral triangles. Because this is the final corner on the afghan, that one doesn't have an exaggerated corner. We can cut our yarn and we weave in your ends before you move on to the next row. When we crochet the border of this row along these unfinished pieces, we will also be joining when the side is adjacent to a motif that already has its border. So for this row, we're going to start out with one of our pointy triangles. And if you remember, this side has all single crochets along it. It is always going to be on the outside. Now you can insert your hook and pull up a loop in any of those single crochet in any space between the single crochets just to start. Now I'm using a double strand and I'm chaining 1, and then I'm going to drop off my end and I'm going to chain a second one. The first chain with the double strand will act and count as a single crochet. That's my chain space that I just created then. So then I'm going to go into the next space and work a single crochet, chain 1. And when I get to the corner space, I'm going to work a single crochet, chain 1, and then another single crochet. Now, I have to get up to the height of a double crochet because I'm making a funny little turn. So I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3 for the corner. However, this is also a place where I'm going to be joining and starting my join between this corner and this corner. So I'm going to pull it down so you can see how I'm doing this a little bit better. I'm going to take my loop off my hook. This is the very first join stitch that you're going to do. From the front to the back into the space that I want to join it to, I'm going to put my hook from the front to the back and pick up that loop and pull it through to the front. And then I'm going to chain 1 to lock it down. Then, only on this particular part, I'm going to chain a second chain. And that's so that I have enough space to transition to the double crochets. I'm returning to the working, this is my working motif. This is the one that I'm putting the border on. So I call that my working motif. I'm going to work a double crochet into that corner space and a chain 1. So I have just joined those two at the corner. As I crochet this border, I'm going to join it to this border. So I've just done my first double crochet in the corner space and a chain 1. So now I'm going to take that off the loop. I'm going to skip the first double crochet on that row and go into the next space, pick up the loop, pull it through, and chain 1 to join. I call that a join stitch. Then I'm going to work a double crochet and a chain 1 in each of the next 2 spaces. So that's 1. So whenever I talk about working a space, it's going to be a double crochet, chain 1 on all the edges except for this outside edge. And if that's the space I'm talking about, it'll be a single crochet, chain 1, only on the side outside spaces. Okay? So now that I have my chain 1 after that double crochet, now I have 2 double crochets. I'm going to skip 2 on the adjacent motif, take my loop off my hook, insert my hook into that next space, pull the loop through to the front, and chain 1 to join it. I'm returning to my working motif, and I'm working 2 spaces. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, and another double crochet, chain 1, taking the loop off the hook, jumping over to the other side, and pulling that loop through that space. Now I skip 2 on this side too because I work 2 here, I skip 2 here so that they match up 1 to 1. So I've just worked in these 3 spaces, I took my loop off my hook and I'm skipping 3 on this side and pulling up a loop, picking up that loop and pulling it through to the front and chaining 1. Now I'm going back to 2. I'm going to work 2 spaces. Drop my loop, count off 2 on this side, pick up that loop and chain 1. So I joined it. Then I'm doing 2 more. 1 and 2. Now the last double crochet of that 2 should fall in the last side space on that side. Now I'm doing my chain 1. I'm counting off 2 and it should fall in the last side space on the adjacent motif. If it doesn't, you either skipped wrong or you have the wrong number of stitches on each side. And so here, they see how they all match up? Now, we pulled through and chained 1 to join. Now we're going to work 1 double crochet into the corner space. See that? And we are at the point of this triangle. Now, these 3 motifs will come together, but there'll be 3 more coming in on this side. So this is an incomplete corner. We don't have all the motifs. So we're just going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Similar to what we did down here. And let's jump over to the next motif in the row and work a double crochet in the corner space and a chain 1. Once we have that particular double crochet in place, this is where we do our first join. We skip this first one on this side and join. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing we did over here between this motif. This is now our working motif and this motif. Then we'll do 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, and then the corner. This is where it gets interesting because this corner is complete. This is the outside edge of the afghan, and we'll be adding border to it, but these need to be tied together. So this is how you work this corner. Work a double crochet into the corner space, and instead of chaining 7, we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Take the loop off the hook, go to the outside, insert your hook under all of the bars that are crossing over, and pick up that loop. Then chain 1 tightly. And then finish it by chaining 3. Return to the corner space of the working motif and work a double crochet to finish that corner and a chain 1. Now, that starts us down. Once we do that first double crochet, that starts us down this edge, and we're going to skip 1 and insert our hook and do a join stitch. We've just put our last join on that row, and what we're going to do is just work our double crochet into the corner space and chain 7 to turn the corner. We don't have to do anything to join it to here because it's not the last row or the last motif going into that corner, so we just continue down the side. We're going to work our double crochet, chain 1 in each of these spaces all the way to this corner. When we get to this corner, we're going to work our double crochet into the corner, and then chain 7 and jump over to this one because this is an incomplete corner. So jump over and then work along this one, jump over, and then work along this one. I've come up to this corner, worked a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 3. Now, just like I did before, I'm going to take my loop off my hook because this corner will be finished when I add this motif. And I'm going to do a join right there at the corner. I'm going to chain 1 and then I'm going to chain 1 more to form the space so that I have enough room to work a double crochet into that space. That is a corner double crochet. So that means I need to do another join after the first double crochet of that corner.
And now I'll continue across this short side by working 2 spaces, a join, 3 spaces, a join, and 2 spaces and a join.
We have all these in this row joined. So we're at the point where we work 1 double crochet in the corner space. Because this is still an incomplete corner, we chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then, since there are no more motifs to add in this row, we just come back to the same corner space and round the corner and work a single double crochet and a chain 1 in the corner space. Because this is our last row, I can start on the outer edge. I could start in the corner or I could start anywhere along this outer edge. It doesn't really matter. But I think I will start on the middle of the outer edge, and that's because I want to show you how to join this corner because that's a final corner. Those 2 pieces coming together are it. Now in the corner, we're going to work a double crochet, chain 3. Now this is where we're going to begin joining. So I'm going to set my other pieces aside in the order in which they're going to appear. And I chained my 3. I'm going to release my hook, put it in from the front to the back just like before, and pull up a loop and chain 1. Then chain 3 more. That's a total of 7 chains. Sound familiar? Okay, then we return to here and we work the first double crochet of this side. This edge is worked just like the others. I'll meet you when I get to this junction. I've just done my join. I'm going to work 1 double crochet into my working motif, into the corner space of my working motif. Then I'm going to chain 3. Now, I'm going to jump over to the opposite point. That's the point opposite the one that I'm on. And I'm going to insert my hook from the front to the back and under every single one of these bars that were created between the motifs. And I'm going to pull that loop all the way through. I'm going to tighten it up and I'm going to chain 1 tightly. Then I'm going to chain 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And return to my working motif and work another double crochet in that corner space. When the corner is complete, it makes a cute little flower within the flowers. And if you can see, even though I made that a tight stitch, the bars will float under it because it's not pinning it down. I did my double crochet and my chain 3. I'm going to put my hook in each one of these from front to back, put them all on my hook, and work 1 single crochet. And then chain 3 and return to my originating and my working motif and work a single crochet, chain one, and a single crochet in the corner space. That brings that neatly together. We're at the next corner, and you're going to work a double crochet, chain one, well, chain three, 1, 2, 3. Now we're at this corner, and this is the final part of this. And the easiest way to do this one and keep it pretty flat is just insert from the front to the back under both the bars and work 1 single crochet and then chain 3. And when you get to the beginning of the round, count 3 chains up. The 4th is actually the space, and slip stitch into the 3rd chain at the beginning of the round. And that concludes this round.
In part 5 of the Pansy Blanket, you will learn to crochet the outer border and complete the blanket with a 2-color braided edging. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please take a moment to subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications of upcoming videos. Happy crocheting!